Hello, thank you for tuning in today to Izzy the Tech Guy, where we're going to be continuing our series on SQL. And today we'll be discussing how to do right joins. We'll go through the syntax, we'll look at how to select certain columns, we'll do some right joins with two tables, and so we'll also get into doing a right and an inner join with three tables. And I'll show that later on. We'll be using the employees, order, and order details. And again, like we've been doing in the other episodes, we've been using w3school. So let's go ahead and go over to w3school. And here I have it up already. And then you just go down to the left where it says SQL right join. So let's go ahead and scroll up here. So basically with the right join, it's almost the same thing as the left join, but instead of, again, they have this beautiful diagram. Instead of selecting everything from this table that might include something from this table, it's doing the opposite. It's doing everything from this table where some things exist in this table as well. And if it doesn't, just keep bringing everything back. That's the main difference between the left and the right join, and the difference between inner join or outer join. So let's go ahead here, see what this w3school says about right joins. So the keyword returns all records from the right table and the matching records from the left table. The result is 0 when records from the left side if there's no match. Even if there's no match, it's still, you're still gonna, maybe I'm misreading this right, but even if there's no match in table 1, you still will have some things come back in from table 2. To me, it doesn't sound like that's what they're saying this last part, but just to make sure it's clear, whatever's in table 2 will come back. If there's things that are in table 2 and not in table 1, it will still come back. If there's things that's in table 1 but not in table 2, it will not come back. So this is the syntax right here. Again, your select statement, your from, so those are keywords. Instead of using left join, you're using right join this time. So you want everything in this table, and if it matches, great. If it doesn't, still bring it back. And we'll show an example of that. And for our demo database, we're going to have orders and employee ID table. So let's go ahead and jump into try it yourself. So looking at this, again, I know in the past I spoke about aliases. There's no aliases used on this table, so that's why they're using the full name of the table before the column that they're selecting. So we have orders ID, last name, which is coming from the employees table, first name, which is coming from the employees table as well. Then you have your from, and you again keyword right join employees on order.EmployeeID equals employee.EmployeeID. Now, and then here, before I jump ahead, and then you're doing your order by. So let's go ahead and run this. So we see everything comes back. Now this goes back to what I was saying before with this diagram here. So everything came back in this table. And if you look closely, Adam West does not have an order ID associated to them from the orders table. So that's why Adam West still came back. However, there's no order ID associated with Adam West. So to try this out, let me open another screen here. Open a new tab. Okay, so I'm just going to do select star from employees table just to show everybody that's an employees table. And then I'm just going to put an asterisk here instead of listing out all the entire column names. So here we go. So we have, there should be a number up here. Well, I can cheat over here. So 10 employees, number of records 10. So where's Adam West? Here's Adam West. Employee ID is 10. So let's go to, what table is that we're joining on? Orders table. So I'm going to copy that, bring it over here, paste it, run the SQL. Now there's a lot of employee IDs listed, so we'll use one of our old tricks just to check ourselves. Employee ID, and we'll do a distinct. So this will bring back, like if you look here, there's 2 4s here. That's because this person has 2 different order IDs. So run here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again. So that right there proves to you what you're seeing. over here where Adam West doesn't have any order IDs associated to it. Okay, so let's continue. Now, one thing here, we can add an AND statement, but for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on with W3 School. It's not working. So let's say, for instance, we want to do AND. What am I doing here? Employees dot last name. Oops, fix this here. Okay, let's say, for instance, we don't want, there's someone named, we don't want Peacock. So we can take Peacock here. Again, this is not going to work. We're going to have to put it in the where statement, but normally, like if you're using Oracle or anything else that you're using, or MySQL, it would work here. You can put an AND statement in the on clause. Here we're getting an error message. So let's go ahead and move this to the where clause and then run this again. And you see Peacock is gone, because we specified we don't want this person with the last name Peacock. So that's how you would do a AND statement in the on clause, in the join statement. But again, for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on with W3 School. It's not working. Run it again. But that's normally how the syntax would go. And if you had a where statement, you can put like where first name is not null. So let's null. And if we run it, it will give us an answer. But again, this is not working. So we can do it like this. And that if we have the AND statement, it would work. So let's move on to what we wanted to do. So I wanted to get employee's name, the product ID, and total quantity. So I know I want to start with employee. So I'm going to do from employee. Oops, nothing typed. Huh? Copy. Or that's because I'm in the wrong tab. So let's come here. Come on. There we go. So, I'm going to cheat a little. So select start from employee. So we know what do we want from employees. We want the name. So I'm going to do, first name, last name. Let's try this. We'll see if it works. As we see, things aren't working today. And then last. Oops. Name. All right, let's run this. This should put it together, and it didn't. So, and what I'm trying to do is concatenate. There we go. So I want to make it look a little nice. Put a little space between it. Okay. As okay. So excuse me. We took care of the first thing. Now what we need is product ID and the total quantity of orders they had. So let's go back here. Again, I'm cheating here a little bit. So from here, I know I want the product, which is here. So let's go to here. So I want the product ID. I want the total quantity. So to get that, I would have to do something like this. Select product ID. And then I also want, and let's go back again, check our, is it just each, so we want total quantity. So we want to add that up. So what we would do, come back to this tab, do a sum here, and then I'm just going to, basically I'm summarizing all this based off the product ID. So I'm hoping here, like example, this is per example, like here, 77, I have two different 77s. One time they ordered 15, the next time they ordered 12. So I want to sum that together. So if we sum that together, that would give us 27. So sum, well, the name of the column, quantity. And this is how I normally, as total. And break it down, and we have to do our group by. Group by 1. I'm cheating here. Usually you want to put the name instead of 1, you want to put product ID, but you try to execute a query that does not include the specified expression product ID as part of an aggregate. Really? So you won't let me do group by 1. Let me run this again. Here we go. And then I want to order this by total quantity. Let's see. Some databases it doesn't allow you to do it by 1, so I had to put the actual name. That's the error that I had there. To order by, let's follow the rules. Order by product. Nope, that's not what we wanted to. Let's see if it'll let us. Some of them, they'll let you use an alias down here. Let's see if this will work. Nope, it doesn't. So let's try this. Will let me use 2? Even though I shouldn't, but yep, it'll let us. And I want to do it in descending. So I want the largest one to the smallest one. Syntax here. Oops, did I put in the wrong one? Yes, I did. X, put it here. Okay. So we have product 31 had a total of 458. That's the quantity ordered. And make sure to, when the aggregate value you're using, make sure if you need to use sum, use sum. If you need to use count, you use count, average, whatever it is. Try to make sure. You know what? Let's add another level of complexity. I don't think I've used average. So here we're going to do the average quantity ordered. So you could do this. Oops, didn't want to put it all in caps. Alright, run it. Good. Okay, so here we have total quantity. So on average, people are ordering about 32, 35, 41, 24. So you see the total, and then you get the average on how per product. Okay, so we have that. So go back to our question. So we have the product ID, we have the quantity, total quantity, and I threw in another one, average. Now the thing is, if you look here, how do we get back to employees? Because employees only have employees ID, and that's where you need your middleman, which will be, let me open another screen. Open a new tab. So I'm opening the third one, because I believe the middleman is going to be orders, because orders has order ID and employee ID. So you want to, yeah, I like that. So select from orders, and order is going to be the table on the left, and you're going to do a right join. I like to capitalize all my, and I put a little space here. It might be difficult to read, so sorry about that. I'm going to have to be scrolling up and down. So right join, oops. And then what are you using to join these two tables? I'm going to be using, if I'm not mistaken, order ID to order ID. So here we're going to get some major errors because I'm not using aliases, and that's going to cause some problems. But we'll face that later. Or we should, you know what, let's fix it now. So copy. And one thing I suggest, stay consistent. If you're going to have the table you're joining on as a second one in the equal sign, continue that. If you're going to have it on the first, continue that. But stay consistent so it makes things easier to manage. You're not going to crash or anything like that, but you want to stay consistent so if you have some issues, you can quickly diagnose the issue. So products ID, that's fine. So we're good here. So I think this should run. The only thing I think I need to add is employee ID, because we need it by employee ID. Copy, and we're almost there at the finish line. So let's run that. We try to specify expression, employee ID as part of that. Ugh, I hate when that happens. So I have to add employee ID my group by. So include that. Now let's see. So perfect, it worked. So now look at this. We have our employee ID, our product ID, total quantity, and average quantity. So I don't like this. I want this to, okay, never mind. This is by product. So that's fine. I almost tripped up myself. So check this out. I want to group it by employee ID first and then total quantity. So let's change this here because this is now the third column. So let's run this. So employee number one, here's their largest orders, going down, perfect. All this is employee one. Goes down and goes down and goes down. And normally what I do, I'll pick one. I'm not going to check all these, it'll be difficult. So I'm just going to pick one and you can check one. But we're not done yet. Because remember, what we wanted the name. So here we have almost everything. But we want to get back to replace employee ID with the name. So this is where I'm going to show you to do the inner join. So you see we have a right join and now we're going to do an inner join. And this, so everything that we just wrote, we're going to copy that. We're going to come over here. So we have from employees and we're going to do an inner join. And we'll get into this later, but this is basically a subquery. So inner join, oops, mouse getting a little crazy. And we'll label this A. We gotta say what we're joining on. And we're joining on employee ID. Copy. Employee ID equals employee ID. I'm just gonna cheat here a little again. I'm gonna just say B. And I have it backwards, but it's okay. So let's run this. Now, if you see here, everything came back 326 records. And the problem is we didn't say, hey, what am I trying to say? We didn't include everything that we need to. So I need to come in here to this inner query and then select product ID. Yeah, I think it's time for a new mouse. Product ID, total quantity. And if you have to go through this a couple of times, it's okay. This is, I would say, like, if you had to say beginner, intermediate, advanced, I'll say this is between beginner and intermediate doing this type of query. Come on, there we go. An average quantity. So we have everything we need. And if you notice, since this should work, let me write it before I start saying that. So here we didn't have to use the aggregate values like sum, average, count. That's because we use it in the subquery. So we can just pull everything out. This is basically like think of it as creating a table for us, this section right here. And then you just pull out the names. You don't have to do the aggregates or anything. Everything's done in that subquery for you. So we look here, Nancy had her product ID of 40. And you know what? I don't need this order by here. So let me take that out because that doesn't help with anything in there. I'm surprised it let me do that. I want it out here. Order by 1 and 3. So let's run this. So Andrew Fuller. How many different products? So product 55, 17, 19, and the largest is 140. So that's how you would do it. And I'm going to copy this so you can go through and look at this query, how we did it. So again, to recap, we did a right join here. And then up here, we did an inner join from this table to that inner query right here, or the subquery that we had. So inner join here. But again, like I said, if you don't grasp everything, we'll definitely dive into queries like this more, but definitely want to understand the basic right join. So hopefully you guys enjoy this lesson, and see you guys later.